Hey everyone, and welcome to. I'm gonna pull the microphone a little bit closer. Welcome to the Plus Show. Today I have Maestro Izzy from the Conway Symphony Orchestra on with us, and we're going to talk all things symphony orchestra and Conway, and get to know the Maestro just a little bit better. Uh, I've told maybe I've told you this story before. By the way, I met Izzy for the first time last December, I think it was, at the events Max, the Max event. Um, you were a part of a day that they were doing for the downtown partnership, and or maybe it was just a music. I don't know. You were there, and I got a chance to meet you. Pete introduced us, and but anyway, when I moved here in 2010, my dad kept talking about the orchestra. They were going regularly, and Izzy, he kept talking about Izzy. Like, that's a very memorable name, right? And he just thought it was the greatest thing that Conway had a symphony orchestra, and they were very involved in going. And he felt like you were a real engaging fellow, and just really enjoyed it. So that was my introduction to the fact that we had an orchestra in Conway, Arkansas. Welcome to the show, and please feel free to let us know just a little bit about yourself.
Well, Todd, thanks so much. It's fun to be here and to have this chance to chat with you. Um, yeah, I'm a symphony orchestra conductor. I started playing the violin when I was 3.5 years old, and I quickly realized that orchestra was my thing, and I wanted to be a conductor. So I kept going and studied for that, and then I came to Arkansas. At first, I had a position with the Arkansas Symphony, and then when I had a chance to have my own band, to be the leader of the band with Conway Symphony, I jumped at it about 19 years ago. And I'm so thrilled to be going into my 20th season as music director of the CSO next year.
Now, I visited with Julia from the Conway Arts of the CAFTA organization last year, and she's from the Illinois area as well. You grew up in Chicago. Conway's a little bit smaller than Chicago. How do you like Conway?
It's Conway is so comfortable, so welcoming, so easy and fun. Every time I travel a lot. I spend a lot of time in Asia and in South America conducting, especially over the summers. And every time I come home, it's just like, there are my friends and fun people, and life is beautiful, and there's no traffic, there's no hassle. So it's actually a wonderful place to be for at least 9-10 months a year. I love it.
Yeah, it's if you can put up the traffic circles, you can make Conway a home for sure. I lived in Fort Worth for about 13 years, which is a little bit bigger as well, and we had a huge traffic circle out in Southwest Fort Worth, so I was used to them when I got here. And so, but these are tiny compared to those. That was a huge one there in Southwest Fort Worth. Well, we had an orchestra. We had a symphony orchestra in Fort Worth, and I think I told you this, but my boss, my first boss, he had season tickets, and one week he said, "Hey, we have season tickets, and we can't go this Sunday afternoon. Would you like to go?" And I'm sitting there thinking about, do I really? It's like 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Like, do I really want to do this? And I thought, this is a chance to experience something I had never experienced before. I will just do it, you know. And so we went, and I enjoyed it, especially when they started playing the Star Wars tunes at the end. That was so just kind of grabbed my attention. So, and to hear it live with the symphony orchestra, there is uh, no comparison. I don't think so.
Uh,
But anyway, it's a great thing that we have, and the orchestra has been around. You and I were talking before we got on 40 years. Can you tell a little bit about how it started?
Sure. Well, the Conway Symphony is a unique institution because it's a joint project right now, it's a joint project between the Conway Symphony board, and also UCA is very heavily involved. The musicians in the orchestra are made up of the top professional musicians in the state. who play side by side with the top collegiate musicians who are studying music at UCA. So it's a special vibe because you'll have sitting right next to each other. You'll have one musician who's played this famous piece, Beethoven Symphony. Maybe they've played it 100 times in their life, and then you'll have somebody sitting next to them who's playing it for their first time. And not only does the
Mm.
energy from the experience of the professional player rub off on the younger player, but the enthusiasm from the younger player, I think, brightens up the energy of the experienced player, and so it makes for a really good mix, and that's why we get exciting performances. The Conway Symphony was started 40 years ago. Hendrix and UCA decided that we needed an orchestra in this city, and it was more of a community type situation. But things have grown, and through the hard work of the 21 member board of directors, we raised funds and had a lot of success, and we built up the organization over a period of time to where we can support what we have now, which is great. We do 6 concerts a year plus other activities. One of them is usually at the park at Laurel Park, which is a free concert we do in September. So look for that. We always do a holiday concert in December, which is a lot of fun with guest soloists
Mhm.
and dancers and all sorts of things. And
Mhm.
then now, recently, we opened the Wingate Center for Fine and Performing Arts, which of course is a building on the UCA campus. And UCA provided this wonderful venue for us to perform in. So we're playing most of our concerts in this Wingate Concert Hall, beautiful state of the art concert hall. We still perform though at Reynolds Concert Hall sometimes because they have a larger capacity. So for our more popular concerts such as
Mm.
Christmas and the movie concerts that we collaborate with, when we collaborate with UCA, we perform over at Reynolds. And then sometimes we perform in the park. So you can find us all over town.
Yeah, you have three coming up in April. We were talking about that, and the first one is actually at the library. It's a family friendly type of
Yeah.
performance.
hmm That's going to be a special one. We've been
Should
doing this recently. Yeah. Oh, at the library,
It's free, right?
we are. Oh, it's totally free. It's designed for young children, so bring your kids. Even 3, 4 year olds will come and enjoy it. I would say all the way up to possibly even 12 years old. But the target age, I would say, is probably more elementary school or maybe 8 years old or 7 years old, something like that. But not only is there going to be a concert with 7 musicians. There's going to be activities and crafts afterwards, and the kids are going to get a chance to try out the instruments for themselves in our instrument petting zoo, which is always a lot of fun. The piece that we're going to be playing is only about 15 or 20 minutes long. It's actually a new composition by composer Dr. Paul Dickinson, who's on faculty at UCA. And he wrote
Hmm.
3 sketches based on 3 famous paintings. And it's just wonderful to listen to the music
Really?
and hear how they evoke the paintings. And so we're going to be not only exposing the young people to music, we'll be sharing great artwork with them and show the nexus between those 2 things. So we are really excited about that concert, and that's coming up very, very soon. This weekend, this Saturday. So Saturday, April 6th, I believe.
Hmm. Correct. And we have all those events on the calendar at Conway Scene. Be sure to check that out. You have a community wide concert on the 27th. Um, can you tell us all that one is It Takes Two? Is that right?
That's right. Yes, exactly. Um, the name of the concert is "It Takes Two," and that sort of has a couple meanings. The concert will have 2 pieces on it. The first half of the concert features Brahms's double concerto, and of course, a concerto is when you have a soloist with the orchestra. And a double concerto is when you have 2 soloists with an orchestra, which is even more fun than having one soloist. Because in the double concerto, you have the soloists sort of talking to each other, and they're responding back and forth and then the orchestra is sort of commenting on that, and then sometimes it becomes the soloists against the orchestra or the soloists working with the orchestra. So there are a lot of different relationships going on, and the two soloists are violinist Dr. Linda Shu and cellist Dr. Stephen Feldman, who are both great players. They are our principal players in the symphony, so we're really excited to have them there. Um, and the second half of the concert, we're doing music from Leonard Bernstein's West Side Story, which of course is a famous take on the Romeo and Juliet play. So there's the two right there, the star-crossed lovers. And in West Side Story, we're actually getting a lot of buzz because recently a movie that was Oscar nominated, Leonard Bernstein, a biopic called Maestro, was very popular recently, and so a lot of people are wanting to know more about composer and conductor Leonard Bernstein and all the things he did in his life. And one of the most important compositions he wrote was this music, this West Side Story. And so what we're presenting a 23-minute collection of the best music from West Side Story. Bernstein himself oversaw this arrangement. And it's called Symphonic Dances from West Side Story, but you'll hear many of the famous tunes that you know and love from that. I guess it's a musical, but the music has such power and such content that we think of it as part of the classical orchestral canon as well these days.
Yeah, it's going to be at the Wingate Performance Hall. So if you haven't had a chance to see the new Performance Hall, you get to go and hear some incredible music uh, paired with one of the best ever musicals, right? West Side Story, and then in the new facility at UCA. Now, you also have another event coming up. It's not really a public facing per se. It is more of a fundraiser, but it is coming up on I think the 20th. Rock for Bach. Now, that actually sounds interesting to me.
Yes. Well, we always have a lot of fun. It's our annual fundraiser put on by the CSO Guild, and it's going to be at the Country Club. And there's a ticket price. So it's a ticketed event, but all the money goes to the CSO. And yeah, we have a band. We let our hair down a little bit. So it's always a great night, and it really helps keep the orchestra going and support our activities. So yeah, it's one of the most important and festive nights of the CSO year. So come join us.
Yeah,
Tickets are available.
so yeah, they're still available. And now, just to let everyone know, I guess the Conway Symphony Orchestra is ran by the Conway, the what do you call it, the Symphony Guild? Is that correct?
Well, there are a couple organizations. The Conway Symphony Orchestra is a nonprofit organization, and it has a 21-member board, and they oversee the
Right.
organization and raise funds. Part of the board, within the board, there's a group called the Conway Symphony Guild, and
Okay.
they do specific activities like fundraisers and sales, and they're sort of another branch of the CSO that works hard to raise funds in particular ways. So they're the ones in charge of this event, and they work tirelessly.
Yeah, so the whole operation is nonprofit. So you're not nobody's getting rich, but it kind of the fundraising helps keep this fantastic organization and this life of culture and art in our community. Again, and I was talking to you about this before. I'm not sure too many cities our size has an actual symphony orchestra. You may know of some, but I can't imagine too many cities the size of Conway have has one.
Sure. Well, I like to explain it with maybe like a math equation, like, half plus half equals three or something like that. And what I mean is that, you take one half of the organization is the Conway Symphony, the professional orchestra side, and the board. And then the other half is the resources and the talents through the pre-professional UCA collegiate student musicians. And you put those two things together, and it really creates much more than the sum of its parts. And that's sort of the secret to our success. There are a lot of community or smaller or even professional orchestras around the country that sort of collaborate with universities on this and that, but we are so fully integrated, and it's been a wonderful partnership, and this has helped us to achieve great things and to really punch above our weight, both musically and as an organization. So it's really a testament to the whole community and how we can come together, pool our resources, and work towards this goal of having great music in Conway. And yeah.
Well, and so there's something else that I just thought about when we were talking, and I was thinking about this last at the last art walk I ran into the Conway Symphony Orchestra. There was a whole tent there, and so you do outreach in communities, not just like, oh, we're putting on a performance for the adults. You do outreach. So you have been to the art walk. You have the performance at the library this coming week. Can you talk a little bit about the outreach part of Conway Symphony Orchestra?
Sure, that's an important part of what we do. We connect. We like to connect with the community in any way possible. So we're constantly sending musicians, smaller groups of musicians, out to many community events to play, to be involved. We're doing those instrument petting zoos, not just at the library this weekend, but we do them all over Conway as part of Toadsuck, as part of other events. And we'll just play on the corner for Art Walk. And if you have a community event, a nonprofit thing going on, give us a call, and we have some funds to be able to cover that, so we can make the music part of your event, and help tell the story of Conway. And also, we provide
Huh.
music if somebody, of course, if somebody needs a musician for other purposes, like a church or a wedding. We're a resource for that, so we can connect the public with their musical needs. So yeah, we like to say that we have a musician sort of on every street corner, or have had a musician on every street corner in Conway.
Imagine going to a local community event and there is a small group from the Conway Symphony Orchestra entertaining. How cool is that? I know you had a couple of
Right.
students at the event we were talking about earlier in December, at the I think December, November, when we had the downtown open house at the event match. You had a couple of students there playing. So that's really cool that you can send people to perform at local community events. I imagine you also do stuff with schools as well to get children interested in children and teens get interested in the orchestra.
We do. We have a program where we send our string musicians into the schools every year, and this is right before they have the opportunity to choose instruments for themselves to start studying. So we'll
Mm.
put a string quartet or a trio right in front of them, like right and they're sitting at the feet of the musicians, and they'll play music for them up close and personal. They'll talk about how the instruments work. They'll talk about what it's like playing an instrument, and also they'll answer any questions that the young people might have about what life is like as a musician. But that's really important that's another really important part of our educational outreach. We also do other things to keep our audience informed. One of the things that sets the Conway Symphony apart from other orchestras in the state and in the country is that we're committed to making sure that our audience knows what's going on during the performances, if I may say so. So, in other words,
Wow.
a lot of orchestras, the conductor just sort of comes out and then bows and then turns around, and then you won't see their face for another 40 minutes until the piece is over and they turn around and bow and leave again. But with Conway Symphony, I like to take the time to really explain to the audience what's going on, and sometimes I'll even play a little bit of the music, little snippets before we perform it straight through, to give the audience a chance to sort of know what to listen for and what's coming up. Because there's nothing worse than going to a performance and saying, well, I'm not quite sure what's going on. Is this the first movement, the second movement? How much longer is it going on? But we leave you, I feel like we give you just the right amount of breadcrumbs to stay with it, to know where to go, to know what to look for, which sort of hopefully optimizes the audience's enjoyment of the performance. And I get really good feedback from the audience members that they say, geez, Izzy, before you played the whole symphony, you told us about this theme and you played it for us. And then you told us it was going to come up here. And I was listening for it and I heard it and it was great. And it just made my day to have this catharsis or to experience the overall arc of the music and know where we were. And I got so much out of the performance. And so a lot of people are really giving great feedback on the way that we're presenting our concerts. And I'm so pleased to be able to connect with so many people in our community with this music, whether it be
Yeah, well, that's
Beethoven
important.
or popular music.
Yeah, that's important because I think some people, we don't go regularly. So one of my questions was, what can user or listeners expect when they go to a Conway Symphony Orchestra? And you just kind of laid that out. You're actually kind of helping guide us along, right? Because we may go listen to live music at King's every week, but you don't listen to symphony orchestra every day. So needing those guideposts is very helpful, I think, for a lot of us.
Hmm. Well, that's something that's uh, when you're listening to popular music, there's a reason why it's a 3 or 4 minute format usually, because every if you don't like they say you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, and sometimes if you don't like the
Yeah.
song, we'll wait 5 minutes. But in classical music, we give there are a lot of changes within the piece, but there's no reset
Right.
every 5 minutes. So it's a long journey. So you need to keep up with the journey in a sense. And we
Yeah.
want to make sure that our audience is doing that. Not to say that we don't play popular music. We play music from movies. We play music from Broadway. We play all sorts of things at the Conway Symphony. In fact, we just played the entire film score of Batman, the original 1989 Batman, which was so much fun. And they played the movie was on a screen above the orchestra, and they are able to do it. So they take out the original audio. They just have the dialogue and the sound effects, but the orchestra is playing the soundtrack live. And it really shows how important the soundtrack is for these movies and to create the mood.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm watching a movie, a lot of times I'm not even aware of the music, believe it or not, but it affects me. But once you sort of hear it in
Mm-hmm.
that format, you say, wow, that's powerful music. And it really makes a big impact. A lot of the fun for me with those movie concerts is, when I'm studying for those movie concerts, they send me a video of the movie without the music. And it's funny watching these world famous actors, and they're powerful, but without the music setting the mood and the background, the movie just isn't the same. And it just shows you how important the film music is to the overall experience. I'm also excited to say that we are planning our next film collaboration with UCA Public Appearances. I'll probably be sometime in spring 2025, and keep on a lookout. Amanda Horton at Public Appearances is going to make her season announcement. I believe maybe in May that's going to drop. So keep an eye out for that, and you'll find out which movie the Conway Symphony will be playing next year.
That's fantastic. I'll try to remember to ask her. I do plan on having her on the Plus show after the public appearances are, they announce everything. So I'll try to remember to pay attention to the movie one that you were doing. Now I want to wrap up with this thing here. We were talking about it started in 1984. You are going to be in the 50th year next year. That's correct. And you will have been. This will be
The
your 20th
Sure.
year next year. Next
Sure.
year. Do you
CSO's
have
40th
special
and
things?
my 20th.
I'm sorry, 40th. Yeah. Um, do you have something special planned for the 40th year?
You know, we're working on that right now. We're actually in our season programming process. We're going to bring in some guest soloists, somebody from far away, and also somebody from close to home. We're going to have some voices from close to home. Um, we're gonna um, we're gonna have a big presentation, of course, on Friday night in September, our free concert in the park. So we have a lot of
Mm.
special things planned, and we're going to be announcing our season sometime early in the summer as well. So we look forward to sharing that with you all then.
Very good. I look forward to that, and I'm sure you'll probably send out a news release or something like that, and we'll definitely get that on the website so people can pay attention. Um,
Right. And if you watch Todd's show, you'll be the first to know, or among the first to know for sure.
Yeah, we'll get that. You said that'll come out in the summertime, so just make sure that you keep us in there, and we'll get that on there. And then, like I said, I do plan on having Amanda on as soon as the appearances are announced in May. So we've got some stuff lined up. I have Mike McKellar's coming on again to talk about the men's chorus, and someone from the chamber to talk about Toadsuck Day. So we got a lot of stuff coming up in the next few weeks and a couple of months. So I do appreciate you coming on the show and telling us a little bit more about the Conway Symphony Orchestra and how people can be involved. I guess they can be involved either as someone who goes to the concerts and listens, and someone who's a supporter, or maybe even probably part of the guild. There's many ways people could be involved in the orchestra, right?
For sure. If you're interested in being part of our organization as a guild member, a potential board member, of course, as an audience member or a donor, please get in touch. You can find us on the web. We have a lovely website and we have a Facebook page that's active. And please reach out, and we'd love to have the opportunity to share our music with you and help connect you with the CSO and you to the music in our community.
Conway is a great place to experience culture, whether it's music like CSO or art like Art Walk, and other avenues of culture. And so I'm glad I was able to sit down with you and visit about the Conway Symphony Orchestra. If you would, real quick, give us the website address for Conway Symphony Orchestra.
ConwaySymphony.org. It's that simple.
Yeah, we will get that on the video as well in the show notes so that people can look that up as well as the Facebook page. And Izzy is he's very, you can reach out to Izzy. He doesn't like hide behind not talking to people. He's very engaging. So if you have questions or comments, I'm sure he'll answer you. And they got three shows coming up this month. One, of course, is free at the library. If you have younger children, you would want to bring those down to experience that. And then the live concert on the 27th. And then I guess you'll close until next year. Is that correct?
Yes, the orchestra usually goes off and goes to different music festivals around the country, and I take off myself. There might be a few smaller events over the summer, but we spend most of the summer gearing up for our big opening concert in September.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Um, Again, appreciate you discussing all things Conway Symphony Orchestra with us.
My pleasure. Todd, thanks so much for having me.
Glad to do it.